The burning you feel in your feet is not a nerve problem. But I know you feel tingling, burning, and numbness in your feet, almost like you're walking on fire. And you were told that you have a nerve problem that must be treated with a medication. But what you're going to find out in this presentation is something completely different than what you've ever heard before. One thing that they're always not going to talk about is the root cause of this. Your nerves didn't just decide to go bad, stop working, and fail. This is not a random thing at all. There is an underlying cause to this, and if you have burning in your feet, you're going to be very glad you're watching this video right now. So when we're talking about burning in your feet, we're talking about a condition called neuropathy, usually classified as a disease of the nerves. But what's never explained is how you get there in the first place. What is actually causing this burning in your feet? And just so you know, that problem is literally brewing in the oven for 20 to 30 years before you even feel anything in your feet at all. The real problem is not in the nerve. It's the blood vessels supplying the nerve, because the blood vessels supply the fuel, the oxygen, and the nutrients. And when the nerve doesn't get oxygen or fuel or nutrients, it starts to become very irritated. It can be burning or itching or tingling. At the root of this problem is a blood sugar problem. It's years of high blood glucose that then destroys the circulation. And the reason why it shows up in your feet first is that is the longest nerve in the body. So it's actually showing up in the most peripheral part of your body first. And what's really kind of counterintuitive about this is we have a starvation of fuel at the nerve level, yet we have a massive abundance of fuel in your blood. So the body is bathed with sugar, but it can't get access to that glucose. And that is called insulin resistance. The reason why that's so important to talk about is when we get into how to correct that, you must align the treatment towards that and not focus on the long-term effects and just the management of these downstream symptoms. If we look deeper into the nerves, there's something really interesting. You have a lot of these mitochondria in the nervous system. And the mitochondria is like the engine that takes the fuel and allows the nerve to work. And what's really happening, and I'm going to keep this really, really simple, is if you have access to the mitochondria, you get about 32 units of energy currency per glucose molecule. And so as a survival mechanism, the body no longer uses this biochemical pathway in the mitochondria. It uses another plan B pathway outside the mitochondria called glycolysis, an ancient pathway to use energy. The problem with this is it only makes 2 units of this energy, this ATP. But not only that, there's a lot of other toxic byproducts that this system gives. It's kind of like a dirty engine that's giving off a lot of extra exhaust, lactic acid, toxicity, other byproducts. And that is what's causing all the irritation to the nerve, because these nerves are slowly dying because the circulation is not getting to the nerves. And so they eventually remove the toes and then the foot because the person gets something called gangrene. There's one nutrient, a natural nutrient, that you could take to switch from this plan B back to the mitochondria. And what is this nutrient? Vitamin B1, thiamine. Because high blood glucose sucks out B1 from the tissues. So with people that have symptoms of neuropathy or burning in the feet, they're nearly always deficient in B1. And it's such an amazing thing to see. Once they take B1 and they start feeling better, they're just blown away how a simple vitamin can do this. B1 is not fuel. It's not oxygen. It is a nutrient, but it allows the fuel and oxygen to finally work again. But here's the big problem about vitamin B1. Normally B1 is a water-soluble vitamin. And if we're going to penetrate this B1 through the nerves, which by the way have a fat layer that's called myelin, we're going to have to figure out some way of penetrating that. And this is why I would recommend a very specific type of B1 called benfotiamine. Benfotiamine is a fat-soluble vitamin B1 that goes right through that nerve and penetrates, and it starts to fix this right through in here. So benfotiamine, a fat-soluble B1, will allow this nerve to start getting fuel. Number two, it starts to decrease the byproducts, the excessive lactic acid, and it starts to get rid of other complications of diabetes, not just in the nerves in the feet, but in the eyes, in the kidneys, in the arteries, and even in your brain. And this whole mechanism also explains why the burning in the feet is worse sometimes at night, because blood sugar is normally worse at night, going through at least 3 cycles of up and down. That's why people feel like their feet are on fire. And I think one of the most important things to learn about this condition is just about medicine in general, the system of medicine. All they're focusing on is managing the symptoms, the long-term effects that are created from root causes, but they never look earlier into the root cause. That's not part of medicine. Medicine's about diagnosing something they can find, so they're going to do screenings. They're going to wait until your blood pressure starts to become high. They're going to wait for this first symptom of Alzheimer's or diabetes, and then they're going to diagnose and treat. And when you go to the doctor, and if you don't have those symptoms, you're considered to be healthy. And unfortunately, the elephant in the room is that these conditions take 20 to 30 years to develop. So unfortunately, modern medicine doesn't get training on root causes. They don't get training on lifestyle changes, on diet, on nutrition, only on clinical medicine, which relates to visible symptoms that occur usually late stage. Now, the problem that I have is the mode of treatment is usually drugs. Like in this situation, it's going to be gabapentin, which really doesn't work that much more than a placebo. And it gives you side effects. And it doesn't even touch this problem, this problem, this problem, this problem. All it's doing, it's decreasing the sensation of your pain, because now you're managing that symptom. You're not correcting anything that's related to the root cause. If we had a fire in the building, we could cut the fire alarm, or we could actually find where the fire is and put that out. Let me go through exactly what I would recommend you to do. Number one, it's benfotiamine. Whatever it says to take in the bottle, I would take that times 4 and spread it out through the day. Keep this fat-soluble B vitamin in your body to saturate the nervous system so you can heal as quickly as possible. Number two, I highly recommend you adjust the dietary sugar and the hidden sugar, starch, in your diet. You must keep your carbs below 30 grams per day. I'm talking about the refined sugars, refined starches. And I'd also highly recommend avoiding any snacks, especially late night snacks, because that's going to keep this blood sugar very, very high, because every time you eat, you're going to affect your blood sugar. This is really going to help you. I would also have foods higher in magnesium and potassium. Another thing that I really recommend with benfotiamine is if you can also take it with something called α-lipoic acid. It's another antioxidant that will just speed up the process and allow things to work a little bit better. And this entire topic connects to blood sugar and insulin resistance. And this also includes why you can check someone's blood sugar for many, many years and it can keep showing normal, but it's not picking up what's really going on deeper in the tissues. I have a free download that I want to give to you. This free download is my daily routine in a checklist. This is a routine that I use every day to feel like I'm 18 years old, even though I'm 60 years old, and I want to give it to you for free. And so there's a little link down below. Click it and definitely download that. There's a very important video for you to watch right now, and I put it up right here. Check it out.